I'm gonna just do whatever it is I'm gonna do.
Right.
And it's gonna take y'all 20 years to catch me. But now that you done caught me, can't nobody stream no De La Soul. Like if you didn't buy a Balloon Mind State or De La Soul is Dead, I guess Balloon Mind State. Prince Paul didn't do Balloon Mind State.
I don't think he did. He did De La Soul is Dead.
Right. So if you want De La Soul is Dead and 3 Feet High and Rising, you just gonna have to track down the CD.
Yeah. I remember a couple of years ago, man, they were selling their whole. Oh, you know what? We got to hit record, Vince.
Oh, right. Record. All right, I've recorded. Yeah, I remember that. They were basically giving it away.
Exactly. Yeah.
They were basically giving it away.
And I scoped up their whole discography, dog.
Right. And like I said, Public Enemy was the same way. Because the Bomb Squad, remember, they would have that wave of sound.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I thought because the head of the Bomb Squad was Hank Shockley,
right?
And I thought they were clearing their.
No. I think I'm pretty sure Public Enemy was in the same boat as De La Soul. Like that software came out like 10 years ago, and they realized he had like dozens upon dozens of samples.
Oh wow!
That was because he made that wall of sound. He was doing.
Yeah, you know what? They probably cleared the main part of the joint.
Right. He was doing the Phil Spector shit. He was just kind of wave after wave, and like if I'm using half a second of a Lou Reed album from 1961, like I'm not paying Lou Reed $30,000 for half a second,
right?
And that adds up.
Shit, yeah, it does.
So
Oh, we're live. Hey, everybody.
We are live. Hey. Oh, hello. I didn't see you sitting there. Lynn and I were just discussing music.
As we are wont to do. Before the cameras go live.
Yes.
Hey, welcome to the Micheaux Mission, 2 Men, 1 podcast, every black film ever made. My name is Len, a.k.a. the Bat Tribble. And as always, I'm joined by my partner.
Hey, this is Vincent Williams. Thank you for that, Len. That was a nice touch.
For those watching at home or listening at home, ladies and gentlemen, on your podcast, this show is being live streamed on video on youtube.com/Micheaux Mission and in the Micheaux Mission Facebook group. You know how we always tell you to follow us on Facebook and join the group. This is why, because we stream it live every Tuesday night. So when you're checking it out on Wednesday morning in your podcast feed, you've missed out on all the visual hilarity.
Yes.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're bringing you, I guess you could call this a bit of a bonus.
Just a little bit.
For Black Music Month, considering that we're actually recording this on June 30th. We are going to 1975 for Vince's selection for tonight, which stars the creepy man star of Psycho, Anthony Perkins, arguably the number one African American male sex symbol of the 70s, Billy Dee Williams, and the lady du jour herself, Diana Ross. As they take a trip to Rome with director Barry Gordy's Mahogany.
Yes, sir.
Tonight on the Micheaux Mission. Aaron Fry is letting us know, Vince, that we have been live for 2 minutes and 41 seconds. Thanks for keeping count, Aaron.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you. Oh, hello. I didn't notice you there.
We'll look for you for the wrap it up sign at the hour mark.
So one of my best friends, still one of my best friends. We were talking a few minutes ago. Chris Morant. What's up, Morant? Morant was the dude who drove.
Okay.
Talking about here's some visual hilarity. And I always said when we would go places, Morant would say, "Look, when I leave, I leave." And you would always look for him. And he, like, if you saw him and he was doing this,
give me
that he was call. Hey, look, you better get out to that 1982 Honda Accord.
No, that's true. That's real rap, man. That's real rap.
So we'll look for Aaron to do his finger. Tell us to wrap it up.
My man Kenny Black. What's up, Ken? Back in the day, his signal was basically cracking open his last 40 and him just loudly pronouncing, one more 40. All right, to let you know.
I'm about to engage in some drunk driving. You said his last 40. How many 40s did he have?
Wait a minute. This reminds me of a story I may have shared here before in the Micheaux Mission. This is once again, we travel back to Len's days of rapping. So, so me and my partner Jay, we were in the studio with our DJ Scott and like a whole bunch of boys, and we was in there just like messing around with samples, speaking about samples. We were like going through samples and stuff like that and freestyle a little bit and doing whatever. And we were all drinking.
Yes,
we all had like a different 40, right?
Right.
So and we was crushing it. And then my man, I think it may have been my friend Calvin, I can't remember, but somebody had a video camera. So like the whole time. And at the end, Jay like put his empty 40 bottle in front of the camera, like down on the ground in front of the camera. He's like, "Yo, OE, boom," and then everybody just started like, "Say Nine, boom, Colt 45, boom, Miller High Life, boom." I dropped my down, White Mountain Cooler, boom. What?
You know what, though? You know what? I ain't even mad at you. Because you know what I was going to say when you stopped talking? There was never one moment when 40s weren't terrible. There was never one moment that 40s weren't terrible. Like, this tastes terrible.
It's true.
But it's 40 ounces of potent, cheap alcohol.
Dude, see, you didn't play ball. When you played basketball, for some reason, you run about 2-3 full courts in a row. Nothing goes down like a nice, tall, ice cold 40. I'm telling you, it's better than water. It's better than Gatorade. I'm not saying it's better for you, but nothing.
Well, obviously, it's not better for you.
Nothing tastes better than a nice 40 after running about 3-4
40s
courts.
Were always terrible. Not for one moment did I enjoy them. They were just cheap, and everyone was drinking them. And you were pouring one out for the homies who aren't here. But all the homies are actually here.
They're all here. They're all here. And they're like, yo, hold, slow up, homie. I'm right here. Right. They put the cup under it. Like, yo, I got that, dog.
What are you talking about? Like, are you on the Blackstones in Cabrini Green when we're not together?
No, God. Anyway.
Yes, anyway.
See what you missed? You missed the tangents, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Okay, so before we get into our review of Mahogany, we like to touch on all the feedback that people have been giving us and all of the emails and just the stories that people have been touching on and dropping into our Facebook group. One was an interesting little video clip that is in the Facebook group, and I'll actually try to embed the audio here. It's a piece of classic footage of a couple of brothers just reacting very sincerely, very spontaneously to video footage of Whitney Houston singing the national anthem. She did classically. I believe it was at an All-Star game, an NBA All-Star game, like back in the 90s. Did you see that video, Vince?
Oh yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I think Markham Lee posted it, and
Okay.
it's just black joy. Like it's just three dudes reacting in real time to Whitney Houston doing it, and it's beautiful. Like it's actually beautiful.
It is, and I remember watching that moment live, and everybody, like, there are in my memory right now, there are two distinct national anthem performances that were mesmerizing, unlike any other. George Kimona actually just corrected me. It was at the Super Bowl. Thanks, George. Good look, bro. And that was Whitney Houston's performance of the national anthem at that Super Bowl. And Marvin Gaye did a rendition of the national anthem that should be rated R.
Because I was just about to say, Marvin Gaye. My mother listening to Marvin Gaye has always made me uncomfortable. Like, I don't like nothing about the energy in this room while you're listening to this.
Exactly, man. It's just beast like that. It's just beast like that. So I'm embed the audio to that into the show, ladies and gentlemen, so that you listening to the podcast can check it out. Was there any? See, the thing with you, Vince, is that you don't follow sports, so you probably haven't seen a whole lot of like national anthem performances or anything like that.
Not in real time.
Yeah,
not in real time. Like I catch it afterwards. I think I may have watched the Marvin Gaye in real time, because wasn't that at some type of championship game? Like, wasn't it at the Sports Ball-a-Palooza? And now the Western Sports Ball team will go into battle. It always kills me how sports people talk about sports like it's the military. These warriors will go into combat to throw the ball back and forth before our eyes.
That's true, man. That's true. George Carlin has a whole comedy bit about that, man.
Really?
Yeah.
George I like that guy.
George Carlin. Oh,
of course.
Yeah. I mean, like, number one, he's one, and he's like 1A of the two greatest stand-up comedians.
Right.
You know?
Well, I never heard the sports bit. I guess I zoned out.
See, now I'm going to embed a little piece of that.
Embed that too. Yeah.
So you
like Any Given Sunday. Like, when's the last time you watched Any Given Sunday?
Oh, is that the Jamie Foxx, Al Pacino, LL Cool J movie?
You would think Any Given Sunday was about Kuwait.
I know, right? Like, down to the way that it's filmed. Because it's filmed, you swear you're watching Saving Private Ryan.
Right.
You're looking for some dude like running across the battlefield, picking up his arm and running a touchdown.
Like, this is a very serious football game right now.
Right.
I think they're going to kill Al Pacino if they lose.
I haven't seen that movie in ever, man.
It's not bad.
No, I remember enjoying it.
It's not bad. Arguably a black movie. I feel like we've talked about this. Like, one of the missionaries brought it up. Like, I think you could maybe make an argument it's a black film, because race is all intertwined in
It's all in there.
Yeah.
It's all in there. I think you could. I think it's a slam dunk black film.
Yeah. It's also, that's the movie where LL Cool J and Jamie Foxx had the falling out.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You
can actually see it in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. See, now I gotta go see it.
Now I gotta go watch Any Given Sunday. Yeah.
Go watch that. Speaking of go watching things, Vince, have you seen there is a trailer for Respect, the Aretha Franklin biopic, starring one Jennifer Hudson.
Yes, sir. And it's appropriately enough, because we were just talking about her a few weeks ago. Even in the trailer, you can tell, obviously, well, not obviously, because it's Aretha freaking Franklin, but she has the voice.
Yeah.
But what I was really interested in and excited about was the minute or so where she was acting.
Yes.
And she kind of had Aretha's mannerisms. And I said, oh, yeah, this is about to be something right here.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks kind of interesting. I mean, I'm a huge Jennifer Hudson fan. You're right. When she has the voice, she will stir your soul just like Aretha Franklin will very easily. But she definitely does have the acting chops. Interesting enough, though, this film, which is not set to debut until December, and hopefully,
I was about to say
hopefully by the time that it comes out, movie theaters will still be around, let alone be open. But interestingly, 1 month before, there's going to be an Aretha Franklin miniseries on the Nat Geo channel, starring Cynthia Erivo.
I was about to say your girl,
yeah. Well, they're both my girls, though.
Right.
They both in the five.
Yeah, both in the five.
Both in the five, dog. They both in the five. So yeah, starring Cynthia Erivo as Aretha Franklin.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's that looks kind of interesting as well. The clip that I saw is not so much, you don't see a whole lot of her acting. It's more Cynthia just talking about, her respect for Aretha and excitement about doing the role.
Sure.
But hey, if anybody is worth a miniseries and a movie, it's Aretha Franklin.
And that caliber of actress in both versions.
Exactly.
So in my mind, this is a win-win for the audience.
And let people who maybe are not familiar with Cynthia Erivo, because she certainly is not the name that Jennifer Hudson is. Jennifer Hudson is indeed an Academy Award winning actress. Cynthia Erivo has won every other award except the Academy Award.
I was about to say, because we thought she might be an EGOT.
Right.
After the last, for Harriet. Yeah.
Right. She has won a Tony Award. She's won
a
Grammy.
Yeah.
So the only thing she doesn't have is an Academy Award. So Cynthia Erivo is really the real deal, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. And it's crazy that between her, when she gets it, she, John Legend, Whoopi Goldberg, like we're living in a moment. We'll be living in a moment with 3 black EGOTs.
Right.
That's crazy.
Right. When for most of our lives, we only had 1 African American Academy Award winner, or 2, because Sidney Poitier had won it, and Hattie McDaniel.
Right.
So yeah, that is actually insane. Her project is Genius Aretha, that will premiere on Nat Geo in November, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to be on television, so check your local listings for that miniseries when it debuts.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of real life people getting their propers, Colin Kaepernick, Vince, is actually going to have is in talks to have anyway, a biopic of his life made for Netflix by Ava DuVernay.
Oh, I love everything about that.
Yes.
Love everything about that.
Are you familiar, Vince, with Colin Kaepernick?
Yes, I'm familiar with He Took a Knee, and yes. Again, I like everything about sports except the actual
playing of the game.
Right.
Except the game.
Right. I know everything about Colin Kaepernick that doesn't have to do with him actually throwing a ball.
Right. So Ava DuVernay is going to be doing is in talks to do a biopic of Colin Kaepernick, a former NFL player who famously 4 years ago took a knee during the national anthem in protest against police brutality. And even though he had some teammates and other NFL players kind of like follow his lead, he was not long after he was let out of his contract with the San Francisco 49ers. I believe he allowed it to lapse, looking for a big deal, and pretty much was blacklisted by the NFL over the last 4 years.
I actually don't even understand, like, just following it legally. It seemed to me like the owners admitted that they colluded to keep him out.
Yeah, it's
like, I don't even understand how it's not criminal. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And I'm sure they'll get into that. And one of the things that has come about in recent days with the stirring of in the wake of social justice reforms in the wake of the murder of George Floyd, one of the byproducts, a distant byproduct to be certain, but one of the byproducts of all of that stirring was the NFL, by way of the commissioner, admitting on video that they did Colin Kaepernick wrong.
Right. Murder of George Floyd and a number of other people, including, of course, Breonna Taylor.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I think that may be pretty much most of the stories, Vince, that we had to cover.
Okay.
There's always tons of stories out there, ladies and gentlemen, for us to cover, but we try not to be like a hardcore news type of thing. We just like to talk about stuff that interests us. Go ahead, Vince.
No, I'll say, did you watch the second? I don't even know if it's really a trailer, because it was like the shadow figures. I think it was based on, Kara Walker's art of Candyman. Did you watch the second Candyman trailer?
No, I saw that had been released, and I didn't watch it.
Man, I am so... I was already excited, but I think you get a lot more of the style.
Okay, the feel for the film.
Yeah, and you and I are Neil Woods fans.
Right, the director.
I think the film is in good hands.
Yeah?
I think the film is in good hands.
I believe it. I knew the trailer came out, and honestly, I've already made up my mind that I'm going to go see it. So I'm just like, you know what? I don't even need to go and like check out this trailer. You already got my money. Wherever it's going to be, if it's going to be in the movie theaters, I'm there. It's going to be streaming, I'm there. I'm going to be there.
This second thing that came out, and I think like Coleman Domingo is in the clip, and it's got this amazingly stylized cutout figures. These shadow cutouts. Like I said, I'm pretty sure either the artist Kara Walker contributed to it, or it's based on her art, but it looks good.
Yeah.
It looks really, Vince, really good.
You do not like horror movies.
I do not like horror movies. So
what are you going to do with Candyman?
I think Candyman trumps it. It's so funny you are saying this, Lynn. I was just having a discussion with the wife where I told her I'm making a husband decision where she must watch Get Out and Us.
She hasn't seen them?
She hasn't seen, because she also doesn't do scary. Her threshold is even lower than mine.
Wow.
Exactly. But I said that Get Out and Us are so culturally significant.
Yeah.
That I think you have to watch them.
You do.
So we're going to we're going to watch it like in the middle of the day. But I think the same thing about
You're going to watch Get Out for breakfast?
Right. Get Out for breakfast. Exactly. She'll actually be having some tea, and I'm going to click the side of her cup.
Here's the thing, though. You can kind of I think with Get Out, you can get away with that on the psychological thriller vibe. Like you like sell it as a psychological thriller, because there's no gore in Get Out. It's all about the feel. It's all about the creepiness of it.
Right.
Us, which is just as creepy, but us.
Yeah, us is pretty messed up.
Us is pretty messed up, actually. She might go running from the room,
Right.
dog. You might have to give her a proper setup, though.
And you know what I say about Get Out? Like, Get Out actually isn't scary after like 10 minutes. Because I'm like, oh, well, I never would have done any of this. And then you just sit back and watch.
Right.
But Us, it's like, ugh.
Yeah, dog.
Like, I understand the decisions that people made in this movie.
Yeah. And Us don't let go, man.
Us don't let go. Don't let go.
It grabs a tight hold of your colon and do not let go until after the credits.
You know the bad thing about Us, and I don't want to ruin it for people who haven't seen it. I'll just say I figured it out almost immediately.
Oh, really?
And it didn't make it any less unsettling.
Yeah. I don't know if she's ready for Us, dog. I don't know if she's ready for Us.
Look, we're going to do it. And I don't know if I can get her to Candyman in the theater. But,
you got to get her to Candyman. Yo, you got to get her to Candyman. Vince, you get her through Get Out and Us.
And she'll be ready for Candyman?
She'll be ready for Candyman.
Okay, all right.
She'll be ready for Candyman. She'll be ready for Candyman. Let me know when you go for Candyman. I'll be right there. I'll be right there with y'all.
Together, and it'll be Candyman. You'll sit next to her eating pretzel bites with cheese, and I'll say, that's the real horror right here.
Exactly. Oh my God. Oh, I can't wait to be in the room when it happens. Speaking of in the room when it happens.
I see what you did there.
Look, I know Vince doesn't like us to like really promote a lot of stuff because we ain't getting paid to promote stuff.
That's right.
But look, dog.
Come on, man.
Look, dog. July 3rd, dog.
You know everybody in this house.
This Friday, dog.
Amped. Yeah.
Prop up in front of your Disney Plus, dog.
Yeah.
Watch Hamilton.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
On Disney Plus, it drops on July 3rd. Yo, yeah. I cannot wait. Yeah. You've seen it. Right. You've seen it like 8 trillion times. You know,
not with the original cast.
Oh, I thought you saw it at least once with the original cast.
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, not at all.
All right. Yeah, because this is the original cast. And as you know, ladies and gentlemen, it basically is they filmed a stage performance of Hamilton with the original cast and then have edited it into a film that is going to drop on Disney Plus on Friday, July 3rd.
Right, but yeah, that is enough free publicity.
Okay.
For people not paying it, yes. But yes. I see what you did there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. I see all of you in the Facebook group. Shout out to Deborah Battle, Maurice Popular, Deborah. Robert Monroe.
Robert.
Everybody that is out there. Bree 517.
Hey, Bree 517.
Everybody in the Facebook group and on YouTube checking us out. Robert Monroe says in regards to Us, I have to give Us a second chance. I checked out when the girl went out into the dark and into that building. That's not something black children do. Au contraire, Robert.
I was about to say, Robert, I don't know how many black children are in your house, but that's damn sure something my son would do.
Yes. And that's something my daughter has done on multiple occasions.
Right.
Oh, look, darkness.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just like, we've been to the emergency room once during the pandemic. I'm trying to stay out of there.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Real talk. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us to bring you our bonus Black Music Month episode. It's time for our review of Mahogany. God, if only Rakim was alive when they did this. Because that's all I was waiting to hear the whole time. Because I already knew where I was going to. and I didn't need to hear it 9,000 freaking times.
Right. I mean, look, man, that's the hit.
Yeah,
that's the hit. So
it's
you got to play it.
I suppose, Vince. This was your selection, Vince.
Oh yeah. Oh, come on now. You know this kind of thing is catnip to me. You know, any excuse I have to talk about Motown for a little while. And you know this is. Go ahead.
No, you go.
You know this is my favorite period. Like when Motown was starting to unravel.
Mm-hmm.
This is my favorite period. Now, what were you gonna say?
Yep. The chain was coming off the spokes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Vince, you don't have a good track record with movies as of late. Not according to a certain someone in my life.
Oh, well, I respectfully disagree. And we'll talk about that.
I believe the quote was, Vince be choosing some whack-ass movies.
Look, I disagree. But I guess that's why we're here.
I fought for you, my brother.
Oh, thank you.
But I could only fight so hard.
Hey, look, man.
You know, dog. You know. I know where my bread is buttered. Anyway.
Right. Hey. So, it's so funny. I was just talking about Chris Moran. Chris Moran has a theory that we've all taken to our lives, talking about children and wives and stuff. And we say all the time, like, you don't get between your children and your wife.
Mm-hmm.
And you tell the kids that because, quote, I'm not taking a cold thaw for nobody.
That's right.
Not even you.
That's right. I like that.
So I will never, ever argue for you to take a cold thaw over me.
Nice.
Because I don't take a cold thaw over my children.
All right. You ready?
Look, you and your mom are going to have to work this out.
Are you ready, Vince?
I am ready. I stay ready.
Mahogany, a 1975 American romantic drama directed by Berry Gordy and produced by Motown Productions.
Yes, sir.
The Motown founder Berry Gordy took over the film direction after British filmmaker Tony Richardson was dismissed. Yep. Mahogany stars Diana Ross as Tracy Chambers, a struggling fashion design student who rises to become a popular fashion designer in Rome. Fresh from the success of Lady Sings the Blues, this film served as Diana's follow-up feature film in 1975 and stars 70s heartthrob Billy Dee Williams as well as the always eerie Anthony Perkins. Also featuring Bo Richards, a Micheaux mission favorite. This film was Vince's selection as a bonus feature for Black Music Month. Vince, what say you of 1975's Mahogany?
What do I say about 1975's Mahogany? Well, I'll start with something that you know because you just quoted that New Yorker article about Berry Gordy taking over. If you read about this movie, people come at it from a lot of different angles because this is a bananas movie. This is a bananas movie. I like my way into this, I was joking before we started talking, is by coming at it through Motown. So this is the third Motown film that we've made, that we've talked about. The second Motown film that was made after Lady Sings the Blues. And everybody knows the Motown story. Berry Gordy, late 50s, early 60s, is a working musician, dare I say maybe a struggling musician in Detroit. He's working at the auto factories. He gets the brainstorm, the vision that you can put music together like the car factories put together cars.
Like an assembly line.
Like an assembly line. And Berry Gordy assembles a team. So you get these wonderful songwriters, Holland Dozier Holland, Ashford and Simpson, Smokey Robinson's doing some writing. You get this amazing house band that we come to know as the Funk Brothers. You get maybe my personal favorite secret weapon of Motown, Maxine Powell. And if you've never heard Maxine Powell's name, Maxine Powell is the woman who ran the finishing school at Motown. So, a lot of these, kind of rough hewn and this, that, and the other. She's the one that taught them how to walk, taught them how to dress, taught them how to give interviews. And anytime you see any of these old Motown people, like, Otis or Diana Ross, appropriately enough, and the way they carry themselves very regally, that's all Maxine Powell. And it worked. And for over a decade, Motown could not miss. They were the sound of young America. And to kind of reference our Dreamgirls conversation, this was the vision of Berry Gordy. Like, Berry Gordy had this vision and he executed this vision. By 75, things had started to unravel a bit. Things had started, as you just said, the chain started to come off the bike a little bit. And, 75, I always like to start with the Spinners and Gladys Knight are no longer on Motown. They're kind of they're really a footnote when you talk about Motown history. But I think it's important to note that they were on Motown and then found success in other places. 1975, the Jackson 5 have left. Jermaine stays because he's married to Berry Gordy's daughter, but the Jackson 5 has left.
Yeah.
Marvin Gaye is on Motown. By 75, What's Going On and Let's Get It On have come out. But I think what's significant about those two albums was that Marvin Gaye had bucked. So Berry Gordy and everyone at Motown wanted Marvin Gaye to do things a certain way. Again, part of this assembly line. And Marvin Gaye said, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm going to do things my way. And more importantly, he did things his way, and you get these classic albums. Likewise, Stevie Wonder is on Motown, but by 1975, we are halfway through arguably the greatest run of albums ever made, which started in 1970 when he let his contract lapse and would not re-sign until he had full autonomy. So Stevie Wonder, again, I'm going to do things my way, and it's successful. Temptations are still around. We are right in the middle of the kind of psychedelic shack period, but this is really Norman Whitfield. The great producer Norman Whitfield, and they are basically his tools. And, it's always kind of funny, funny, but not really funny, that Norman Whitfield never for one moment thought that anyone involved in the Temptations' success was more important than Norman Whitfield. And I always point to, I think it's a Masterpiece, where the picture of Norman Whitfield is bigger than the picture of the Temptations.
Gotcha.
So 1975, there really is this sense that Motown, and specifically Berry Gordy, has kind of lost his touch. B, that these outside forces are trying to poach everything that he has built. And in the midst of this, you have Diana Ross. 1975, Diana Ross has been solo for 5 years now. She's had some okay success. Like, she's had a few number one singles, but as someone who, frankly, I think is the complete avatar of Berry Gordy's vision, I don't think anyone would argue that she is as successful as a solo star as Berry Gordy would have hoped.
Right.
Not for nothing, when the Supremes are signed, Diana Ross is 17 years old. In 1975, she's 29. So she's a woman. This is not somebody who's 16, because I think they were 16 when the Primettes, who became the Supremes, met Berry Gordy. He said they were too young. Then they get signed the next year. So when you're 16, 17, you meet Berry Gordy. He's the great and powerful Oz.
Right.
At the beginning of The Wizard of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
By the time she's 29, he's more like Oz at the end of The Wizard of Oz.
Exactly.
So I think this context is all super important when we talk about a film that the storyline is about this Black woman who has this skill and this talent, who is wooed away to material success, to larger success, to, and I think the racial undercurrent is barely undercurrent, to white success. But what she really needs is to stay home with Black people. So that's where you start. And I think just as this kind of cultural moment, I really, really am endlessly fascinated by Mahogany. Now then, Mahogany is a film, I think it's all right. I think Mahogany is all right. I think obviously Berry Gordy is not a director. But one thing I will no, he's not. But one thing I will say about Berry Gordy loves Diana Ross. Yes. Berry Gordy loves Diana Ross. And the one thing that I think Berry Gordy gets across, and I'll circle back to Diana Ross in a moment, you get Diana Ross. If the aliens came to Earth and you wanted to say, okay, Diana Ross is in the Supremes. All right, she was the best singer. No, she wasn't the best singer. Oh, she was the prettiest one. No, she wasn't the prettiest one. Then why was she the one who was the lead? If you show them Mahogany and Diana Ross through Berry Gordy's eyes, I think you get it. Like you said, Anthony Perkins, best known for his work in Psycho, and I think it is fair to say that he was typecast a bit after Psycho, and never really, his career never really did much more besides Psycho. And you get it, because Anthony Perkins is an unsettling personality.
Oh, yes, he is.
And he plays this role, but again, representing this kind of deviant and decadent world that's trying to draw Tracy, which is Mahogany's name, away from the down-to-earth home of Bryan, Chicago.
Right.
Billy Dee Williams, look, Billy Dee Williams has never been anything but Billy Dee Williams. Billy Dee Williams is the prettiest thing on the screen. Billy Dee Williams wear them turtlenecks. Billy Dee Williams talks like this. He's Billy Dee Williams. It's like this really kind of funny to me moment where he goes to Rome and he's at this decadent party. And there's some pretty, troubling queer representation, I will say, that doesn't necessarily age that well, but he's in the party and he's uncomfortable with how fluid everything is. But the irony is Billy Dee Williams is the prettiest thing on the screen.
That's very true.
Billy Dee Williams and Diana Ross, I was listening to Lady Sings the Blues, and I'll say the same thing about about this in their relationship as Lady Sings the Blues. I like the two of them together. I think Billy Dee Williams is actually enamored with Diana Ross. He likes being around her. He likes, just being you always get the sense with Billy Dee Williams, he can't believe that he gets to be here with Diana Ross. And the best moments in the movie, in my mind, there are these quick moments when it's just the two of them. I could watch 20 minutes of them playing air hockey. The two of them at lunch where she's kind of mumbling and bumbling her way through Italian and he's kind of chuckling at her.
Right.
We'll talk about the end, but that whole I got 6 kids with the flu, bit that they do twice,
yeah,
is actually charming to me. And then there's Diana Ross that this whole thing hangs on. And again, I don't think Diana Ross is the greatest anything, but one thing I will give Diana Ross, I like Diana Ross's commitment. And I think one thing I've forgotten is how long the film goes on before she transforms into Mahogany.
Mm-hmm.
So that you have 40 minutes of Diana Ross basically in Chicago as this struggling seamstress, designer, by the end of it, girlfriend, and like she sells it. Like this is somebody who is a before. So that when you have the moment where they start putting the eyelashes on and they put the wig on, and then she becomes Mahogany. Everything that I said about the transformation that wasn't there in Dreamgirls, I see it in this. So that she then becomes Mahogany, who's basically Diana Ross.
Right. Exactly.
And then she's Diana Ross. So that at the end, this film works for me in these kind of disparate pieces. It's almost like a quilt. Like you're about to, I can feel you like somebody's good. Oh, well, this isn't a good movie. And I'm like, well, I think it's all right, but no, I would like you look at what won the Academy Award in 1976. Like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest won the Academy Award, and it's like you look at everything else, and it's like, well, no, it should have been like up for the Academy Award, but it's all right. And then when in the midst of time, within the context of history, I like Mahogany.
Well, that's great, Vince. Let me tell you where you're wrong. Billy Dee Williams and Diana Ross do not have any chemistry.
You're insane. You're insane.
No, I'm not.
Wait, whoa. No. Not to. We're not going to rejudge something. They have less chemistry than Whitney Houston and Kevin Costner?
No, I'm not going to say that.
You just said they had chemistry last week.
Who? Whitney Houston and Kevin
Yes.
Costner? Yes. Okay. I don't buy. First of all. All right. Let me backtrack a little bit, okay? Let me start with, I'm just judging the movie. Now, I like to just put this into his historical context.
All right.
And where Motown and Berry Gordy is at this time in 1975. And I think all of that is very relevant, right? And Berry Gordy, I think what's also very relevant at this time, and I think you maybe alluded to, is that Berry Gordy and Diana Ross are about 4 years removed from their relationship that they had with one another that presented them both with a daughter who would not learn until she was 13 that Berry Gordy was actually her father.
Right.
Diana Ross's husband at the time actually raised her as his own, even though he was aware that Berry Gordy was the father. So they are they are just coming out of their relationship, and I think that when you saying this is like his love letter to Diana Ross, it's almost like he's throwing a Hail Mary to Diana, like baby, please, baby, please, you know what I mean? However, Berry Gordy and Motown, as much as much respect as the name has in 1975, the name does not bring with it much real power, or even more importantly, much real financial power behind it. So therefore, while there's this big, passion play and vanity project that he's putting together for his number one ticket, Diana Ross, he can only put but so much dough behind it. He has these creative differences with the British director Tony Richardson, fires him, says, shoot,
Mm-hmm.
I could do it myself. And lo and behold, we get the mess of the movie that we get. Because while this movie there have certainly been worse movies made, okay? There certainly have been. This movie wastes a lot of opportunity. It wastes what is, at the end of it, when it all comes down to it, a soap opera story. I mean, this is a soap opera.
Yeah.
This is a rags to riches girl in Chicago who lucks up and becomes this huge star in Rome, right? It almost is like a Cinderella story, right? So it's a soap opera, as it were, which by nature calls for you to a director and a production that brings all the sweep and soaring romance of this to life in front of the camera, especially when you're going to take them from Chicago and you're going to plop most of the movie in Rome.
Yeah,
And this is not. This is 1975, ladies and gentlemen. This is not Rome on a green screen. They are in Rome. They are literally walking along, in and out of the ruins of Rome at this time. So if you're going to do that, then it begs for, you better have a director that can really bring it, that can really give this movie the panache that it deserves. The one thing I will give you about Diana Ross, you said it, you hit it right on the head. Diana Ross is not the best at anything, but Diana Ross is committed and will give you everything she's got at everything. I don't think she's the greatest actress in this movie at all. But there are moments in this movie where she is really just delightful to watch on the screen. There are moments in this movie where she does physical comedy that is like really, really on point. She throws her whole body into a scene. Does she have the chops acting wise to maybe get over a lot of her lines and some of the more serious moments? No, she doesn't. And that's just that's what you get when you're casting a singer for a strong romantic and dramatic role. So you're going to get that. But Diana Ross is going for it as best as she can. So I ride with her on that. The bad thing about it is that while technically at 29 she's not too old for this role, Diana Ross presents older than 29, and thus to me it was a little distracting trying to take her seriously as this young ingenue in the beginning of the film, and it's maybe a little bit more believable when she becomes Mahogany, the Grand Duchess of the fashion world in Rome. That's a little bit more believable because, like you said, that is Diana Ross. But even then, I think she presents a little older than I think the role really is meant to be. But I could be wrong.
Oh, that's interesting. Because I thought, I'm sorry, go ahead.
But I could be wrong. And I'm not even going to. I bring that up just because it is a point of view that I have. But as distracted as I was by that, I wasn't distracted enough that I couldn't, appreciate what she was trying to do on the screen, right? That being said, a lot of this movie, she is acting up against Anthony Perkins and Billy Dee Williams. Anthony Perkins is a creepy dude. He's a weird, off-putting type of just presence as a man, never mind as an actor. But the one thing you can say about him is the man can act. The man, he knows what his role is supposed to be, and he's going to bring it. He's going to bring it on the screen. So I think that in the scenes where Diana Ross is acting against him, she actually finds a way or finds some type of lane, despite her naivete acting wise, to raise the level of those scenes that they really kind of shine in the movie, right? As opposed to her scenes with Billy Dee Williams, who we've both said, one of the prettiest men walking on the face of the earth in the 1970s. But, I mean, there's a reason why he's most famous for acting in commercials. He's not that strong of an actor. You want it. The look is there, but the presence is not there. And because it's not there, I don't feel it from the two of them. I don't. I feel that Billy Dee Williams is. There are times when I feel like Billy Dee Williams is acting in a totally different movie, to be totally honest with you. And it just does not play. There's moments where you get the sense that they're kind of like more doing off the cuff and ad-libbing some lines, and even then it doesn't work. There are moments when they're supposed to be kind of romantic with one another, and even then it doesn't work. There are moments where they're supposed to be dramatic with one another, and even then it doesn't work. I just don't buy their relationship at all. And that's before I get into the politics of the 1970s politics of their relationship, which we'll go on in a little bit.
Right.
But I just don't buy them. And I think that is a detriment to the film, because I do think that Diana Ross is putting her all into this movie. And Billy Dee is, maybe he's putting his all, but his all ain't much. There's a reason why there's a scene with him and Anthony Perkins.
Yeah.
You cannot take your eyes off of Anthony Perkins in that scene. And it's a scene where they're both supposed to have kind of like equal weight in the scene, right? They're battling for a gun. I mean, that makes physically no type of sense. There's no reason why Billy Dee Williams has Anthony Perkins tumbled over a desk holding a gun, and next thing you know, he's laying on his back with Anthony Perkins on top of him. Like, makes physically absolutely no sense.
I didn't remember it taking that long. I was like, why is this taking so long?
This is yes. And they were just going for the gun. They were just holding the gun. They weren't even like throwing punches. They're just holding the gun barrel. It made absolutely no sense. But you can't take your eyes off of Anthony Perkins in that scene. You can't. And Billy Dee Williams is lost in that scene. And that's a detriment to this film, dog.
No one is saying, like, I would never say he's as good of an actor as Anthony Perkins. He is
the leading man in this film.
He is the leading man. Well, not to split hairs. Is he the leading man or is he the love interest? Because this is Mahogany's film.
Right. It's Diana Ross.
Like he's the love interest. And again, Billy Dee Williams is a pretty pony. He's a pretty pony. And I do, and just to use your same argument, I don't think Billy Dee Williams is a good enough actor to get across, and again, and I see this in both films, this genuine sort of, again, he's enamored with her. Like, there are moments where he's looking at her, and to your point about it's almost like he's in another film, I almost feel like sometimes he's forgetting that the movie is going on. Like, Diana Ross is being Diana Ross, and again, I think I admired the early part more than I think I ever have. Like, I forgot how much of the time of this film was spent before she went to Rome.
Mm-hmm.
And she's running, she's doing the thing with the 6 kids and the flu. They come in the apartment and she's got the sticker over her eyes. And you look over on the side. In fact, that's the scene I'm thinking about, where they go back to her apartment and she runs in and she's Diana Ross and she's just vibrant and jumping. And you look over and he's almost out of the frame.
Yes. Yes.
Billy Dee Williams is standing by the door, just looking at Diana Ross.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something, again, I saw throughout Lady Sings the Blues, where, and you brought it up, just where they are in their careers, where he's still relatively early in his career.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I cannot believe I'm standing in here with Diana Ross. And Diana Ross just loves the attention of a beautiful man. So yeah, it works for me. That part of it works for me. Now, to the politics of it, I think you calling it a Hail Mary by Berry Gordy is a good way to put it, because let me just say this again, just to the history. I think the other thing about Billy Dee Williams that fascinates me with his work in Motown,
mm-hmm.
I feel like Billy Dee Williams is Berry Gordy's avatar.
He wishes.
And the funny thing is, it culminates in the Jacksons miniseries.
Right.
Where Billy Dee Williams plays Berry Gordy.
That's true.
But that's where Berry Gordy always is.
Mm-hmm.
Where he's channeling himself through Billy Dee Williams. So this whole bit about, the most famous line in the movie, success means nothing if you have no one to share it with. Mm-hmm. And she goes through the film. And what's fascinating is that Anthony Perkins' character represents this decadence and this deviance. And again, it doesn't age well, and it's arguably a little homophobic, because there's all this bit about homosexuality. There's an implication that Perkins' character is queer, which is why he can't be with women. So now he hates women. And he's like this shrewish, hateful, decadent, deviant queen.
Right.
But what we never really talk about is that she has 2 patrons. There's Perkins' character that I just forgot his name.
Anthony Perkins, Sean McFoy. Sean.
Right. You have Sean, but then you have Christian, who's this rich Roman guy.
Right.
Who then sponsors her and does everything.
Jean-Pierre Aumont is the actor who plays him.
Who's very smooth.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I actually wanted him and Billy Dee Williams to be in some scenes together and have a smooth off.
Well, I wish he was there for most of the film. He doesn't really come in till the end of the film.
I know, but he's very smooth. But he sponsors her. He provides everything for her. When it comes down to them having, sleeping together, he basically says, you don't want to sleep with me, so I'm not going to, push it, but I'll still sponsor you. And then she gives it all up to go back and help Brian. And it doesn't make that much sense that she gives it all up and goes back. And it's very hateful and is very mean. And she says to Brian, I'm a success, and you don't like the fact that I'm a success, but I'm a winner and you're a loser. Mm-hmm. And I was sitting and I was taking notes, and I was like, wow, she's not being very nice right now, but she's not wrong.
True.
Like, she's not actually wrong. And then
she's giving it back. She's giving it back to him because he was very dismissal of her career early on. And when you think, and my problem is that never in the film is that addressed. Never is he
not at all
apologetic for what he has done to her.
Not only is he not apologetic, but when he comes to Rome, I forgot that he came to Rome to ask for help.
Yes.
With his political career.
Right.
Yeah, there's almost a Tyler Perryan level of letting this male character off the hook in this.
Yeah.
And it does. It really undermines the romance.
It does.
To put it, plainly.
Because, and I can see, as someone who, despite the altar that people put it on, as that people put Claudine on, me being someone who looks at that film and actually am troubled by some of the messages of that film, but I also recognize that it was in the time that it was made, and this was the reality of those times, right? I recognize that the reality of the times in which this movie is made is that a woman, whether or not she's a white woman, a black woman, or whatever, no matter what level of success she achieves independently, it is always not going to be considered, enough unless that is coupled with having a successful career, a successful relationship with a man. And in many ways, that relationship with that man means that you've got to be, to some level, subservient to whatever his wishes or his dreams are. And that seems to be a very big message in a lot of films of this time. But for this movie to have made a concerted effort for her, Tracy's, to, stand up for herself, leave him, to take the chance to follow her dream, and for her to achieve her dream, and for him to then come to her while she is living her dream. For this movie to make such a concerted effort for it to do that, for her to now only find happiness when, after giving all of that up, just sounded like it doesn't even sound true to the character that you're creating in this film.
How about me, that?
That is doing, and it doesn't. Not only does it do the character a disservice, but it also does the actress a disservice, because that is 100% what Diana Ross is all about, right? So that is what Diana Ross has always, espoused in any interview that you see with her. It's why that Diana Ross has unapologetically, moved from a few relationships, because y'all ain't gonna stop this show. You know what I mean? I'm gonna do me, and I'm gonna keep getting it right till I get the man that understands how this is gonna how it's gonna have to be. And eventually, she did get it right, and that's the message that she imbued into all of her children. And for you to see it being built up in this movie and then thrown away, and especially thrown away in what is comes down to maybe the last 20 minutes of the film, like, it's just criminal, man. It like really pissed me off.
Well, again, I think this is such a straight shot into the psyche of where Barry Gordy is at this moment. Not to prop us up, but frankly, I don't think enough criticism of this film over the years has focused on Barry Gordy. This is all Barry Gordy, and you called it. This, like everything you just said about Diana Ross and her value system, this is the moment where it becomes apparent that this is who she is. Again, this is not some 17-year-old girl from the ghetto. That is, Lynn, you still there? Lynn, I lost you. Is it just me talking? Can other people hear me? Am I in heaven? Lynn, is it me by myself?
Dropped out for a minute there, ladies and gentlemen.
Me?
Sorry.
All right. I didn't know what had happened.
This is what happens when you do it live, ladies and gentlemen.
I thought it was the rapture. Then I had to figure out, did Lynn get raptured or did I get raptured? Then I had to kind of go. I was like, shit, who would get raptured between the two of us? I'm like looking out the window. Like
it wouldn't be me.
Anyway,
you know what? To be fair, I think we both would be leftovers, Vince. I think we both would be leftovers.
We're just doing the show and didn't notice that everybody's gone. I think you called it. That this is a Hail Mary. Like this is, oh Lord, Lynn's gone again. All right, let me make sure. All right, everybody get Lynn's gone again. Oh, let's just sit here now. Sitting now talking.
I am so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. There's trouble happening with the internet where I'm at right now.
Okay.
And this is what happens when you do it. You do it live. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right.
I'm back. All right. Deborah Battle. I'm going to let you finish your thought, Vince. But Deborah Battle wrote us. Said, talking about the movie, it makes no sense for her to go back to Brian. He never supports her. This movie says a woman is nothing without a man. See, that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely. But again, this is Barry Gordy's Hail Mary. It's 1975. For the record, she leaves Motown in 5 years. And then she goes on to this wonderful second wave of success with Nile Rodgers. But, back to Billy Dee Williams, I think part of the reason, frankly, this film doesn't get called out as much as it should, and that when, people list kind of these great Black love stories, like Mahogany is always cited because it's Billy Dee Williams doing it. Like somehow this nonsense doesn't seem as crazy or insulting because it's Billy Dee Williams in them turtlenecks. But it is. It really is, and you're right. It's a disservice to the character. It quite honestly doesn't make much sense within the context of the film. Because she's shown look.
Yeah. It doesn't.
So, and that does it as a film, it makes it leave a bad taste. As a cultural document, I think once again this captures this moment in Motown history, frankly, where he's saying, "Please, baby, don't leave me like everybody else has left me."
Yeah, you're right. You're right for that culture. What it means for Motown and the brand. This is like really, you don't even want to say it's the beginning of the end, but it's definitely, it's one of the nails in the coffin for the Motown that was.
Marvin Gaye's on his way out.
Yeah.
Marvin Gaye's on his way out.
And once he leaves.
Diana Ross is gone by 1980. We talked about Norman Whitfield. I'm pretty sure Norman Whitfield leaves Motown, I think like 76. So like at that, by 75, Norman Whitfield is the big joker in Motown's hand, and he's on his way out. So I don't think it's hyperbole to say this is the beginning of the end. Because after this, it really is just, and now I'm just in my music bag. You have, Rick James and Tina Marie, DeBarge, Switch has a couple of albums. I think Switch was on Motown. Switch had to be on Motown, or one of the subsidiaries, because Jermaine Jackson discovered them.
That don't mean nothing.
Well, regardless, there's not much left in the tank. There's not much left in the tank. And I think, in 75, you could certainly say this is the beginning of the end if you don't say the end hasn't started already. So. Right.
And you touched on it. You just really tickled at it a little bit. This is the beginning of the, I guess we're being honest, kind of like the third act of Diana Ross's career, because she does get with Nile Rodgers, and she has probably a nice little good 4 to 5 year
Oh
run
yeah.
where she is
Oh
banging
yeah.
out hits. She
Oh
is like
yeah.
#1 on the charts. She's on everybody's lips. She is a certified superstar, and we're talking about a black woman singer in her early and mid 30s, and she's killing it, man.
Along those lines, something else I will say about Mahogany. I think just this unadulterated depiction of this kind of unambiguously black woman as the pinnacle of beauty is worth noting.
That's true.
Like that
That is very true.
the Mahogany sequence when she becomes Mahogany, and they just and Sean is photographing her, which has become iconic. Like we just referenced it in Dreamgirls. I think in and of itself that is radical. I'll never forget years and years ago. I think it must have been, I'm thinking it's the first time that Oprah Winfrey met Diana Ross, and Diana Ross was on the Oprah Winfrey show, and Oprah broke down. Like Oprah actually Oprah Winfrey actually broke down and was amazingly emotional, and she talked about how much it meant to see this black woman like this. So yeah, absolutely. And as far as her music, like you were saying, the Nile Rodgers era, look, that stuff like Love Hangover and like what are my albums? Like
Diana's one of them, right?
Right, right. The Boss and Diana. 1979's The Boss, and 1980's Diana. Like you said, that's the one she has on the shirt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I like that better than all the Supreme stuff. So
yeah, she was killing it, man.
She was
definitely. She was a queen. She was our she without the internet to back you up. Everybody rides for Queen Bee, Beyonce. She was our Beyonce. She was the person who stepped out from a girl group and exploded. That was Diana Ross. She set that template.
Yeah, she's on my bucket list.
Somebody you want to meet?
No, somebody I want to see. I've never seen her.
Oh, you've never seen her? You know what? I don't think I've ever.
Yeah, I've never seen her perform. Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think she may be at an age where we may not see her.
I know. I have a list of people that I would open up the coffers to go see, and she's on that list. The bad thing is one of those people just died, which is I'm not Benny King. Why am I looking right at Lean on Me? Why am I looking right at Grandma's Hands? Why am I looking right at
Bill Withers?
Bill Withers. Bill Withers is on my list, and he died. So
yeah. Oh man, I saw Bill Withers. Bill Withers is yeah. Wow. All right. So Vince,
So yes, I would. I would. Look, you have to watch Mahogany. You have to. You have to watch Mahogany.
I don't know.
You have to. You absolutely know that's true.
Do you have to watch Mahogany, or do you have to watch the clip of her becoming Mahogany on YouTube?
No. You have to watch that whole film again. This vein, this moment is a complete snapshot.
Okay.
You got to watch Mahogany. Yeah, you have to. Not even up for debate.
I'm not going to quibble with that. I'm not going to quibble with that, especially as someone who does not have a lot of time for Diana Ross in The Wiz. So I will give it up that if you're going to watch a Diana Ross movie,
which to everything that we've been saying, Barry Gordy told Diana Ross, "You're too old to be in The Wiz. You can't be in The Wiz." And Diana Ross looked Barry Gordy dead in the face and said, I can do whatever I want," and went over his head to the producers.
That's true.
True. Even that.
And she was too old for The Wiz.
But
she's not too old for Mahogany. Go watch Mahogany, ladies and gentlemen. Go watch it. Go see it. Go. Yeah, sure. Go watch it. Go watch it. I can't believe that it's not streaming. That's my thing.
Isn't that insane?
My thoughts about the film notwithstanding, I can't believe that this film is actually not streaming. It's not streaming on Amazon. It's not streaming on Netflix. It's not streaming on Brown Sugar. It's not streaming anywhere. It's available for free on YouTube.
You know what I say though? Like
it's the same, right?
No, everything about the quality of these Motown films and this, that, and the other, and we can Barry Gordy talking about the racism that was directed his way because he had the audacity to get out of his lane and make movies. He ain't all the way crazy. That's crazy. True. And it's things like that. The fact that you can't readily access a lot of this stuff. Like you said, it is insane that Mahogany isn't streaming.
I know.
So
it's available for you to watch, ladies and gentlemen. Check it out. It's all up there on YouTube. Check it out. All right, before we tell you what we're going to be watching next week, we invite you to like and follow us on all our social medias at Micheaux Mission. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, as well as on Facebook. Join the Micheaux Mission Facebook group where we have a lot of fun, including with all of our fans that are sitting here watching us on YouTube and on Facebook. Subscribe to the Micheaux Mission on YouTube, youtube.com/Micheaux Mission. If you like what's happening on our social medias, then give some props to our girl Toya Haynes, who is our social media director, and show your love her way by checking out her podcast, The First Time I Heard, where she sits down with people from the music and entertainment industry to talk about the first time they heard select artists. I believe she had a new episode go up this week called about the first time that she heard Jodeci. I remember the first time I heard Jodeci, and I was like,
yeah.
Exactly what I said, Vince. It's like you was there, bro. So check that out. Any place you find podcasts. The First Time I Heard with Toya Haynes. Show her some love and tell her that a missionary, you were a missionary and you were told to check her out. All
That's right.
The Micheaux Mission is also a proud member of the Podglomerate curated podcast just for your listening pleasure. Go to thepodglomerate.com to check out all of the podcasts that are on that beautiful network, including The Feast, which is really a crazy type of podcast, and Green Eggs and Dan, another nutty podcast brought to you by the folks at the Podglomerate. The Micheaux Mission is also available as a radio show every Saturday at 1 p.m. on WPPM 106.5 FM Philly Cam, People Powered Media here in the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection. And you can check us out every Monday morning. Wake up with the Micheaux Mission at 9 a.m. on 91.7 FM WKDU, the voice of Drexel University. All right?
All right.
And our show is available wherever you find podcasts, MicheauxMission.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, all those other places. Give us a 5-star rating and a review because that helps people find our little show. So we really appreciate that, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Vince. Next week on the Micheaux Mission, I am calling an audible. I'm calling an audible, Vince. I had a film that I was ready to do, but
Okay.
I remembered me and you kind of waffling on the idea of whether or not we were had enough historical and cultural perspectives to speak on some of the more popular or more famed foreign films that some might consider black films.
Right.
So with
Would
that
be Lethal Weapon 2? Lethal Weapon 2? Is that what you're talking about?
Such as Lethal Weapon 2. And this other film that, if you don't mind, Vince, I'm not going to ask you to fully review, but I'm going to ask you to watch just so that we can talk about it a little bit next week. Okay.
Okay.
This is not my film for review. I'm going to tell you that in a minute.
Okay.
But I'm going to ask you because it's available until July 18th on Turner Classic Movies. I believe in their on-demand feature from 1959. The romantic tragedy Black Orpheus is up there.
Oh, come on, dog. I don't got to watch that on TCM. I got the Criterion Collection edition of it. I love Black Orpheus.
Of course you do, Vince. How
Black Orpheus is amazing.
Yeah, I have actually never seen the film. So
I wish you would have told me. I'd have let you hold my joint.
It's fine. It's fine. It's on Turner Classic Movies. I'm gonna
I didn't know that.
Turner Classic Movies. So I don't know. We've talked about it. This is definitely a foreign film, ladies and gentlemen. Black Orpheus, but it's set in Brazil, made in Brazil. Definitely features some Afro-Latino actors and people behind the scenes. It's from 1959. It's a famed film. It's a film that I bring it up now because I think that people should watch it, should be introduced to it, and I think that we should.
Let me just say this because I'm sorry not to cut you off because this is the type of thing that people get real. They're not Latino.
I'm sorry
because they speak Portuguese. Yeah, you don't want to get the Brazilians mad at us.
Sorry.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
See,
Go ahead.
Please forgive my ignorance.
Right, we Americans. See, this is why we can't actually review it.
This is why we can't review the film.
This is exactly why we can't review it.
Exactly why. But we're going to watch it and we're going to show some appreciation for it.
That's right. Brazilians are not Latinos. That's not what we're saying.
Exactly. So we're going to watch Black Orpheus and we're going to talk about it a little bit next week. But the film that we're going to review, Vince, is from 1992. And remember when you said that you were doing kind of like a Black Music Month bonus?
Yes.
And I said, oh my God, I had actually selected a Black Music kind of like month bonus episode.
Okay.
So let's consider this bonus part deux.
Let's keep the party going.
We keep the party going. From 1992, we are going to be watching the film based on a 1987 musical of the same name, directed by Dal Rude, written by Mahogany Gima, and forgive me if I'm mispronouncing the name, and William Nicholson, and stars Miriam Makeba, John Connie, Naledi Kumala, and Whoopi Goldberg. We will be watching Sarafina next week here on the Micheaux Mission.
All right.
Another film I've never seen.
I don't know if I've ever seen Sarafina, and I'm interested. I guess we'll talk about it because wouldn't this be an African film? Isn't this a South African film?
I don't know.
All right. Okay. All right.
See. I shall see. We're going to be channeling through the international waters next week.
I was about to say it's real international up in here.
So we hope that you can join us, ladies and gentlemen, next week as we talk about Black Orpheus and we review Sarafina. All right?
All right.
Until then, he's Vince, I'm Len, and in parting, we say...
We'll see you when it's time to meet again.
Be safe.